Charles Kettering once said, "There is a great difference in knowing something and understanding it. You can know a lot but not really understand anything." I don't know about you all, but for me, it's easier to understand something once I've applied it to something that I already understand. But first, let's make sure we all know the four-way test so we can begin to better understand it. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Now that we all know the four-way test, let's apply it to something that most of us have some form of understanding of. Now in the 21st century, the thing that most people know and understand is social media. Social media is most commonly used by people ages 15 to 25. So being that I'm 16, I fall in that category. But here's a question that I've struggled with for a couple of years now, and when I first heard about this speech contest, I thought, that seems like a really good opportunity to finally figure out the answer. My question is it a coincidence that the age group that uses social media the most relatively the same group that reports the highest amount of mental health issues? The group that reports the highest amount of mental health issues, or 89% of them, are ages 18 to 25. When I first heard that, I thought, that seems like a coincidence that after only 3 years of being on social media, that mental health issues become a problem. Now that we all know the question, let's apply social media to the four-way test to see if we can find an answer. First, is it the truth? No, most things people post on their social media are not the truth, and let me explain why. In 2021, an astounding 71% of people said that they edit their photos before posting them. When almost everyone is changing the way they look in their photos, no one is getting to see the honest truth. Whether it's changing the size of their hips, legs, arms, or the color of their teeth, these changes don't represent the true people in the photos. Second, is it fair to all concerned? No, social media isn't fair to anyone because social media platforms such as Snapchat and Instagram really only promote the accounts that they find worthy of being promoted. So what does that mean for the rest of us whose accounts don't meet these expectations? Well, our accounts are really only noticed by our friends and family. And while that doesn't bother some people, others stress out about not being able to gain these followers. Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Well, it seems to me that the no's are 3 for 3. Social media doesn't build goodwill or better friendships because I know people my age love to compare follower counts. And while we feel good about the amount of followers we have when we see someone who has less followers, when we see someone who has more followers than we do, it kind of puts a damper on our mood. And when that person is one of our friends, it makes things a little bit worse. As much as we don't want to admit it, jealousy sets in and we begin to compare not only our follower counts, but also our body types, weights, and even heights. Sometimes we're able to let this go, but other times we aren't so lucky. And it can eventually cause a conflict and potentially ruin a friendship. Therefore, social media doesn't build goodwill or better friendships because it actually causes strife and opens the door for jealousy. Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And again, the answer is no. How can something be beneficial to all concerned when we've already discussed the inequality in how users' accounts are being promoted? This really ties into the initial question. Because of this inequality, the users whose accounts aren't being promoted as heavily can be sent into a spiral of any form of mental health issue, such as depression, anxiety, and possibly even eating disorders. Now back to the original question. Is it a coincidence that the age group that uses social media the most is relatively the same group that struggles the most with mental health issues? Well, let's recap on how social media did in the four-way test. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? So social media received 4 no's from the four-way test. So if something isn't the truth, it isn't fair to all concerned, it isn't beneficial to all concerned, and it doesn't build goodwill or better friendships, how can we possibly expect it to be any good for anyone's mental health? So, is it a coincidence that the 2 groups are so close? My final answer is no. They are very much so related. Thank you.
And that's why she won.